Hello, and welcome to our final game debut. Before we begin, we would like to thank our instructor, Dr. Shama Ali, for telling us all about software construction to make this game a success. Secondly, we would like to thank our TAs. I hope you enjoy our game. We first start off with our starting sequence. In our starting sequence, we're given the background story of our character, Ozon. We're far in the future, and it's year 2729. Earth has been destroyed, and humanity has moved to Mars. On Mars, a scientist creates up with a clever solution to clean up Earth. She creates a bioengineered creature that will be sent down on a mission to make Earth habitable once more. Unfortunately, on re-entry, a lot of this creature's food has been lost all across the globe. Your mission, playing as this creature named Ozon, will be to clean up Earth. So, when you first land on this map, you noticed a few things. First of all, it is a map of the world, and you see that there's a lot of garbage all around. Secondly, there is a blue dot which you can navigate using WASD keys. That blue dot helps you select where you want to go next. In order to interact with these NPCs which are flying around, all you have to do is press T. And what they'll give you is an environmental tip, or they will give you a game-related tip as well. Right. You will also be able to enter huts. In these huts, you can select what type of player you would like to play. We have the green one, which has extra health, the blue one, which can jump extra high, and the red one, which can move quite fast. Hit save, and we go back to the map to save our preferences. A few notes about the map: it does get cleaner as you progress through the certain levels. And the level nodes change color as well. In order to enter a map, you would have to press space. But back to the colors point, the next map level you need to be entering will be in red, whereas the completed ones, which you can replay, will be in green. And then the ones you're not allowed to enter will be in gray.
All right, so inside level 0, there's going to be a couple different enemies that try to attack you. There's a little bit of music playing in the background. There we go. Yeah, there's a little bit of music playing in the background. The red enemies move back and forward, and if they run into you, they'll do a little bit of damage. These green guys shoot at me if I get too close. Yeah, just like that. But if I hit them with the ice ball, then they will no longer be able to shoot at me for 5 seconds while they're frozen. If I try out one of my flame attacks, it'll actually light them on fire, and it'll do damage over time for 5 seconds. To toggle between my 3 attacks, I can just press the number key, 1, 2, or 3, which will light that attack up. The main attack does the most damage, and it also goes the fastest. The fire attack is a little bit slower, does a little bit less contact damage, but it does do damage over time. And the ice ball is the slowest and weakest of the 3, but has the cool ability of being able to freeze or slow enemies. Just like that. You can slow the walking ones, and it can prevent the green ones from being able to shoot at me.
All you have to do is
All right, so yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but I just grabbed a berry. The multicolor ones will heal you up to full, and the blue ones will only heal you about 20 hit points. Since I've reached the end of the stage, there's a boss here. He's going to continuously attack me, and also does contact damage if I run into him. Since he's the first boss, he's not very difficult. And once I beat the boss, I will actually exit the stage and beat it. So I've now unlocked level 1. Level 0 is still green. I can play it again if I want to, but it won't further my progress. If I don't want to play a level, I can just press enter, and it'll take me back into the map. So entering level 1 is slightly different. The background's a bit different, but the overall concept's the same. You have one wall jump if you have momentum going into a wall. To help you make this jump. There we go. All right. So as we keep progressing through these stages, they do get harder and harder as you go. And yeah, the bosses will also change. This one is a flaming computer chip. And you can watch its health go down as I continuously shoot it. So there we go. South America is now completely clean, unlike the rest of the map, because we just book beat the corresponding levels to that part of the world. And that's the theme of the entire game. As you continuously beat all the garbage monsters and bosses, you are effectively cleaning up the earth. So there we go. I took damage and I grabbed the level berry, so it healed me up. Didn't quite make it. If you fall into the void or if an enemy kills you, you just respawn. If a level's too difficult, you can just press enter and it'll take you back into the map so you can try again later, but it doesn't count as beating the stage, so you can't cheat that way. All right, scrolling actually works both ways. I guess I can demonstrate that right now. It's just whatever, if you pass a little invisible marker, the camera will start to scroll. I believe it's about here, and then another one about there. All right, so our third monster, a little trash bag guy. Once we defeat him, we'll be able to move on to stage 4. There we go. Okay, so I'm actually going to wait around on the map just a little bit because every 30 seconds, there's about a 10% chance that that you can enter this this surprise level. It's just a very small level, no scrolling, with one boss, and once you defeat the boss, you're free to go back into the map. So hopefully that'll appear somewhat soon. I guess I can talk to a couple more of these NPCs. So yeah, they'll either give you an environmental tip or right there, yeah, they can give you a little game tip as well. There we go. So I spent too long in the map and this boss is just gonna attack me. It's pretty simple. There's no scrolling, so I can go all the way to the left or right. You'll notice if I go into a boss, I actually have a second where I am immune to taking damage, just a couple of immunity frames. I can heal it to full and we can take care of this guy. So that could happen. There's a small chance so that's just your incentive to keep playing the game and not spend forever in the map.
You may have also noticed the amount of customization. So
Trash bag monster once again. Perfect. All right, so we're getting close to the end of the game. Oh, this is a hard jump. All right, I got it this time. Maybe not. There we go. Okay, so let's say I want to change my Ozon character. Maybe I want a little bit more health. I'll choose the green guy. I can save that and go back into the map. And yeah, I'll have a little bit of a boost this time. So he doesn't jump quite as high, but I do have a little bit more hit points, which is helpful for this stage because there's a lot of enemies that are going to be coming up. Yep, he's also a little bit slower, as you can probably notice. Every character has just a couple different benefits to play with. That way you don't just use one. Okay, boss. All right, that was close. So now that we've beaten level 6, the M stage is now unlocked, but if I try to enter it, I actually am not able to. The reason for that is because there's this neat little spaceship over here that's supposed to draw your attention after you try and fail to enter the M stage. And if you enter this, you're actually, you get to enter the maker state. So this is actually what we use to make our levels as well. You'll notice that the background moves pretty slowly. However, this is actually quite a long stage that we let you make for yourself. You get to make your own kind of ending stage. So yeah, the platform moves a lot faster than the background does, but they still move proportionally to one another. And I can add whatever I want in here. I can add enemies. I can add any of the platforms that you've already seen along your journey. I can add different berries, like the ones that will heal me partially, and the one that will heal me all the way. And if I try to press save now, I can't. That's because the exit condition for leaving a level is by defeating the boss. So I get to choose one of the 4 bosses that we already have. I'm going to go with smoke. I'm going to turn on some volume as well. All right, so here we go. There's our boss. I'll add in a little bit more platforms just so we can actually go ahead and fight him. That looks pretty good to me. If I press save, then I can finally enter that stage. So here we are. This is the level that I just made. And yeah, I can defeat the level that I laid out for myself. And then you get to watch the end credits go by. So yeah, we did it. You get to see a little slideshow as humanity returns, and Earth is now sustainable. So that's the basic gist of our game. Since we've beaten absolutely everything, now like you're no longer going to be faced with those random interactions. So you're free to spend as much time in here as you want. The maker stage is still red. We actually did that on purpose because you can recustomize it as many times as you like. So if I wanted to redo it and give myself a different final stage, I can go ahead and do that. If I add in boss or platform, press save, that'll overwrite my old one. So you can do that. You can change your character, pretty much whatever you'd like. So that's the basic gist of our game. Okay. Excellent. So the levels are all stored inside a folder, which consists of 4 TXT files, one that stores berry locations, a boss location, enemy locations, and platforms. There's this neat little thing, which is the big brain behind our game, which is our game data file. This stores pretty much everything that you could possibly need from any of the runnable classes. So it reads from all those text files using double nested list comprehension. It stores them all inside of dictionaries, which are then put in place inside of this levels array, which we can then import into our levels file to figure out exactly what we need and just keeping our code nice and clean. Going forward, just the master TXT file, that just stores the information based off of your progression. And the maker level, this is what is actually edited when you play with the maker, and it'll store everything. And since I didn't really make a very long level, there's not much in there. However, that's what runs everything. So that's a little bit behind how our game works. If we go into the maker class, just to kind of give a better example of how our levels are run, we use this grid system. It's 44 long by 20 high. We have a couple functions that will index your mouse and figure out where you want to place things. There's a little bit of logic for whatever it is you're trying to place. And that's how our levels run. There's a really, really, really long screen that you see that is longer than your actual computer screen. And there's this little camera thing that will basically just draw a portion of that screen onto the main one, which is actually shown. And that's how our levels work. The grid system that you notice inside the maker still exists inside of the level class. We just don't draw it, and that's how we get the starting locations and everything that we need for the enemies. Going into like the level class, everything is relatively straightforward. There's a function for the camera. Every time we update the game, we update the player, we update the camera, we update all of the enemies and platforms. We update the boss, and then we run some collision things, and then we of course check to see if the player has beaten the boss or the player died. Other than that, inside of the initialize function, you'll notice that there's like a little bit for all of the different displays and surfaces that we run. The map background does move slower than the actual level does, but it still moves proportionally to however far you've scrolled inside the level. And in here, this is where you actually it creates all of the different objects from the TXT files that we loaded inside the game data folder. So it'll just go into game data. It'll go into the level that it's currently at, and it's pretty simple to generate all of the different objects that we have based off of how we stored everything. So that's our game. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah.